Welcome to the game, welcome to the show. Home of the Hall of Fame where the legends go. Canton Classics all in for victory. This is our time now, we're making history. Gridiron Giants with champion DNA. From the top down, striving for greatness every day. No days off, just hard work that pays off. Leave it all on the field, even if we're carried off. This is our house, our field, and our arena. Our legacy, leave our mark for non-believers. Our team's a band of brothers with one goal. One vision, one mission, we won't fold. Let us take you behind the scenes where the owner's sweet view as we take over the league. We take you behind the scenes with the owner's sweet view from section 330. With the owner's sweet view from section 330. With the owner's sweet view from section 330. Yeah.
Ooh, I get chills listening to our theme song every time. It's so hard not to get hyped listening to it. Everybody, welcome back to Section 330, the podcast, the one made by the owners for you, the people. And speaking of the owners, unfortunately, today we do not have Adam Chance with us. So if that's what you were tuning in for, sorry to disappoint you, but you got the captain of the B team, me, on, and I've got a guest, and it's impossible, of course, to replace Adam. And while we can't replace him, we did substitute, I suppose is the word, with our general manager, and even if he wasn't in the room, I would still say this about him: top 5 GM in the entire league, Mike All. Mike, how are you today?
Surprise! I got a promotion.
Yes, you did, man. So thank you for joining us in Adam's stead here today, man. You are coming hot off of the convention in Las Vegas at the Luxor, the SFL's first time at the HyperX Arena. Pretty big deal. I was not able to go. You were, and a couple of the other team members were. So, in your most descriptive terms, if I'm going to close my eyes and imagine right now, give us a kind of a visual. What was the vibe like? What was the energy of the convention?
It was pretty exciting. There was over 100 of us there, and it was
Wow.
exciting to meet everybody. The energy was high. There was no, who's this guy? I don't want to talk to him. Like, everybody got along great. Doesn't matter what team you played for. Everybody was friends. We were all interconnected because of the SFL community. And the arena was amazing. It was a really nice setup. I could see how it'd be really exciting to be there and watch other esports going on, because it was a really cool place to be, and just an amazing environment to be in. And apparently in Las Vegas, time is irrelevant, because the nights were long and the sleep times were short.
We're short, man. That sounds like a party to me. It sounds like a good time was to be had by all, and I've seen some of the pictures come back, and you guys all look like you had a great time. But particularly the classics. You know, I saw the Garys had their gold jackets on. Incredible. They surprised us with that. They didn't even mention they were doing this.
Yeah.
But for the listeners, Gary Burney and Gary Clem, two of our defensive players, showed up in Hall of Fame gold jackets with Canton Classics logos on them, man. Super creative, super unique. I love that. I love that they're so in on the team. Now, the convention was what it was, right? It was a gathering of the community, but everybody was here for a reason, and that reason was the kickoff of season 19, right? I think you had 2 other members of the Minnesota Legend, our opponents, that were there, right? Did you sit next to them at all? Did they sit next to you? What was that like? Did you kind of jab them in the ribs with your elbow? Or what?
So there was actually 3 of them.
Okay.
Mickey Malillo, Jason France, and Axel Raven were all there.
Okay.
And start of the game, I told them I was going to be sitting right next to them, and I sure did. And we had fun. You know, we congratulated each other when our teams did well. When Mickey hit his first field goal, I gave him a big high five. I was sitting right next to him and was
Nice.
super excited for him. It's his first pro field goal, so it was a big deal for him.
Yeah.
Um, when Rob hit his field goal, we all cheered for him. He was sitting a little bit higher up in the stands, and so I turned around and I was cheering for him. And I mean, it was a good game. Our output wasn't what we were hoping it would be, but it was
Mm.
still fun to watch. It was a good game, and Minnesota really did well for them.
Absolutely, man. First off, I got to say I'm really happy that you are such a good sport, and just so encouraging to the others, even though they're on the other team. And I love that. I think there is a proper way to win, and there's a proper way to lose for sure. So I really like that you're supportive just in every aspect, even as much as you want to win. And you're correct in that we did not get the outcome we were looking for that day. So we went down a quick 0-1. You know, you had a few people in the community start with their jeering about us, and so many people. I guess basically because of the roster you had kind of put together, or you did put together, I should say. We had very high expectations from us, not even just from the team internally, but from the league. So we definitely did start to see a little bit of a shift with that. Some people saying a couple of things here and there, and then that led us to last weekend's game here in Indianapolis. So tell us about how what were you feeling, man? I know exactly how we were feeling during that game, but you were at your place in Wisconsin. What were you feeling watching this game quarter by quarter?
So we started out exactly like we should have.
Mm,
We were playing great defensively, putting up points on the board offensively. Um, we looked exactly like the team that we know that we are.
mm, mm.
We did everything that I know we're capable of. We were getting takeaways. We were hitting guys in the backfield. Our offense was matriculating the ball down the field. I like that word, matriculating. Um,
It's not used often enough.
yeah, and we were putting points on the board. We built up a nice lead for ourselves. It was complete turnaround from week one, especially in that first half.
Right.
Now in the second half, it was definitely a different story. We put up a touchdown that second half, but we started to see diminishing returns as
Mm,
Indy finally caught up to where they should be because they're a very good team too. No, no disrespect to them. They put
absolutely.
together a great roster. They have great coaching, and they started playing like the team they're supposed to be.
Mm,
And unfortunately, we saw a little bit of a turnaround that we couldn't stop, and they managed to find their way back and put some points on the board to eventually come away with a 5-point victory. But that being said, we still saw so many great things from our team. We saw exactly what we were capable of, and I
oh
know
yeah.
the coaching staff is playing off of those strengths going into next week.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, man. The way we looked those first 3 quarters or so is exactly what we knew we could do. So happy to see it. I think now it's just a matter of bottling that and replicating it right for all 4 quarters. And we're going to be a problem for any team that goes up against us. And it's only been 2 games, is what I've been reminding people. It's been 2 games. Nothing to panic about, nothing to hit the worry button yet, with that. But with that being said, it kind of makes this week here against the London Knights a big week for us, right? If we're able to win this game, then obviously we just took down the division leader, right? A.
Hmm.
B, that puts us now at 1-2. If Motor City loses their game and Queen City loses their game, now we're all tied for second, so we're right back in the hunt. Uh, 3, we get the you like how I go from B to 3 right there?
Yeah,
Not even
that's how you.
C, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
A, B, and 3. 3, we go into that bye week with the momentum, and as we all know, football seasons are very much a thing about momentum. We have that momentum going into the bye week. We come back against Tulsa, which is a game I think we're expected to win. Nothing against them, but I do think we can bring them the fight. So it's kind of a big week for us, isn't it, man?
Oh yeah.
What are you looking forward to going up against the London Knights. What do you think are our keys to victory here?
So London Knights are actually a more complete team than they've been in the past. They've actually figured out how to use Robert Merrill finally, and his rushing has been amazing this season so far.
Mm.
So if we can bottle him up, we can figure out how to slow down that perfectly blocked running game that they have going for them. Force it to be in Johnny Pickler's hands. And I know a lot of our guys are looking forward to picking the ball off when he throws it, or getting him sacked in the backfield.
That guy's asking for it, isn't he?
Yeah, just to say hi to Johnny and give him a good what for, I'm also excited because as you know, I found a nice connection between London and Canton, and I'm excited for that to become a big rivalry thing for us there.
You absolutely have. And I'm trying to figure out a way to get my girlfriend involved in that as well. For the listeners who don't know, she is from London, and I think that's a great way to jab at them a little bit, because although being from London, she is very, very, very much a Canton Classics fan and a Canton Classics supporter. That may have a little bit to do with our relationship, but who knows? It may not. Right? I think she just genuinely loves this team, loves the personalities here, man. So we're gonna figure that out for sure. And I really love that you did come up with that connection between London and Canton. It's a really unique thing, and I'm excited to roll that out. And it ties in very nicely too, as well, with our everything that we got going on at the Hall of Fame, man. So I'm very much looking forward to this. This is going to be a good week for us. I know that the coaching staff has made the adjustments they feel they need to. They're working very, very hard, even right now as we speak. Right. As we speak, there are sims going on right now, man. So we are all fired up to go get this win, and hopefully the next time we talk to you, Mike, it will be on the other side of our very first win in Canton Classics.
Yeah, that would be great too, because it'll be at home and against what I consider to be our biggest rival.
Absolutely. So I guess nothing more to it than let's get after it, and let's go get that W, man.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Mike, so much for your time today, and we will see you next time here on Section 330. I think that the fans like you, so we're gonna have you join the B team here, and have you on a lot more often, man. I think they want to hear from our GM and some of the leadership more often. So we're gonna make that happen.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to do it.
Absolutely. And I am very much looking forward to getting after it against London and getting us that first victory. Once that first one is out of the way, I'm thinking it should get a little easier. That first one's always the hardest one to get to. When we come back from this break, we're going to be joined by our strong safety, Van Lacey, who is the owner of the character Evan Lacey, and we're going to hear a little bit from him about the very special reason that he wore number 4 during our game against the Indianapolis Ramblers, along with wide receiver Jeff Banfield. Van's going to be talking about that once we come back from the break. Van is one of the gutsiest guys I know, and speaking of gutsy, we'll be right back after a word from Gutsy Organic, the world's greatest prebiotic snack. Hashtag BeGutsy. Visit www.gutsyorganic.com.
A Gutsy a day, every day. Eating one of our fresh and delicious signature blends of Gutsy Organic on a daily basis is an extremely convenient and tasty way to positively manage and impact the overall benefits of your health. Improving the wellness of your entire body begins with a healthy gut, and Gutsy Organic makes it so easy. Visit GutsyOrganic.com, that's Gutsy with a Z, to learn more about how the bacteria in your gut affects your everyday and to find out where you can get the world's best tasting prebiotic snack in your area today.
We are here with Canton Classic strong safety and father of Evan Lacey, Van Lacey, as well as our Vice President of Business Development, Josh Bach, and they're going to talk a little bit about Evan's story and why Van chose to wear the number 4 on the field this week. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Good to be here.
Thank you, Kristian. Thank you for having me.
Of course, this is Josh Bach, and had some opportunities to have some great conversations with Van on the phone, and really getting to know not just him as a player, but him as an advocate, as a mentor, and as someone that really believes wholeheartedly into community and helping and serving and getting to know the story. And I thought it'd be great just to have the opportunity to share with others the passion behind what you do, Van, and who you are and where your heart is. So if you could catch people up a little bit on where your passions are about representing your son's number, Evan, and share a little bit about the reasons for all of that.
Sure, Josh. Sure. Thank you. Well, as Kristian mentioned, Jeff Banfield and I were given the opportunity to wear number 4 instead of our normal numbers because my late son, Evan, that was his high school number, was number 4. And I just feel like, well, this player that I created in his honor and his likeness, I created the player to carry on his memory, and not only for me and my wife and my family, but also to share his story with others. Evan, we lost Evan in 2019. He's a very humble young man, a leader of people, and never knew a stranger. There were often times when I would actually, Evan would come home. On one particular moment, Evan came home, and the temp was maybe about 20 degrees, in the winter time, and he came home without a jacket. And as soon as he walked in the door, I was like, "Son, where's your jacket?" And he said, "Well, Dad, I saw this guy on the side of the road when I was driving home, and it was freezing. He was asking for food or money, and I didn't have anything, but I gave him my jacket." And I couldn't fuss at him for that, but I knew his mother would. but that's just one story of the type of person that Evan was. So my Jeff Banfield is a teammate of mine, ex-teammate with San Jose Flight, and he and I, through the SFL, have become very close friends. And Jeff also shares some of the same passion that I have about my son and reaching out to others through our experiences and helping others, because both of my children, Evan as well as his older sister Vivian, both played sports at a very early age, all the way through high school. I had the experience of not only supporting them, but also supporting their teammates and their friends, some of which were going through different hardships and weren't as blessed to have both parents in our lives like my kids were. So even after the loss of my son, and I still want to carry that on by reaching back and helping out the youth of today and the youth of not only my community, but other communities as well.
Yeah. Well, and it's so important and so vital. But your passion, a lot of just making certain that they're keeping the legacy alive of Evan. And I think, and there's many people that may not know, and by no means do we want to go into great detail. But Evan was murdered, and to this date has not been a closed case. It's an unsolved
Correct.
case, and the amount of effort that you and your family have gone through to really find some closure, but then also to be able to keep that legacy alive. Speak on that if you would.
Well, through social media, I try to reach out to other people and ask for someone to speak up on Evan's behalf, because I know that Evan would, him being the person that he was, he would not hold back anything as significant as someone being murdered. And, I'm astonished at how many people knew Evan and that I didn't know of, just through social media and people hearing about his story. And, he went missing 17th of December. that morning I was headed out to work as normal. He was getting ready to go to work as well, and I said, "Hey, man, have a great day." We hugged, we kissed each other, and I left out. And that day went by and turned into night, and my wife and I realized we hadn't heard from Evan, and you know, which he normally would text us throughout the day, telling us where he was going, what he was doing, whatnot. And I have a buddy who was a police officer at the time, and I was once when I got to the point to where I was panicking because I hadn't heard from my son. I reached out to him. He's a police officer in a neighboring city, and speaking with him, I was telling him what was going on, and we discussed the different possibilities. And I asked, like, well, should I call the police department and do a missing person case? And he was like, no, they won't do it until the person is missing for 72 hours, only to later find out that was incorrect. But so 72 hours went by, and I finally called the police, and they came by and took a report, and was like, well, maybe he's at a girlfriend's house. And I was like, no, that's not him. I know that's not Evan. That's not my son. We would at least heard back from him. So then, as time went on, we still, they filed a missing person case, and we still hadn't heard from Evan. And by that time, my family members, I'm the only one of my family who lives here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Majority of my family lives in Southeast Texas, around the Houston area, Port Arthur, or even San Antonio. But my family started to come into town and to support my wife and I, and my coworkers and everybody at the company that I worked for. They showed great support, and we did flyer distribution drives. We did. The community really came together for us, and we were just, looking for Evan. And I mean, we basically combed not only here in Arlington, but even South Fort Worth, just wherever he could have been. And so then eventually, I think about 2 weeks had gone by, and they located Evan's car. Well, his car was located in South Fort Worth, in a pretty how can I say it, a not too glamorous neighborhood, to say the least, and a place that I wouldn't have expected Evan to frequent or to know anybody in that neighborhood. So they found his car, and at the time I didn't know it because I was still thinking positive that my son would come up, and that he had to have been at someone's house in the neighborhood. But I later found out there was a significant amount of blood in the car, and you really couldn't tell because his car had very dark tint. And before Evan came up missing, he wanted to sell his car because his car was a lemon, and we had many, many problems. I was always having to pay all kind of money just to keep his car running. So we were going to sell it. So he had written for sale on the back windshield of his car in white shoe polish. Well, I noticed when we found the car that shoe polish was not on the rear windshield. And so we found the car, but we still could not locate Evan. And the car was found maybe about 17 miles from my home. And so then we were still looking for Evan. We were trying to ping his phone, and the police were, they were doing their thing with the checking out cameras all over the cities, and finally we got word that here, not even a mile, right around the corner from my home, there was a water main break, and the city was in like this forested area next to a neighborhood, and the city was repairing that water main break, and they located my son's body, and he had been there for some time, and they called the cops, they called the police, and through checking his DNA, I mean, he had been there for so long. My wife and I, we weren't allowed to see him. So the last time we couldn't even identify the body. His body was identified through DNA. And so we held a service to lay Evan to rest. And that's when, I mean, this church was, a pretty large church here. And it was actually in Grand Prairie, which is another neighboring city to Arlington, where I live. And this is a pretty large church. And that service that we had, that homegoing service, that celebration of my son's life, was packed to the T. And I didn't know it because I'm sitting in the front row. And the pastor asked, if I would come up and say some words. And I got up to the mic, and I looked at everybody in that church and how packed it was. And I was just blown away that this kid, this young man, had touched so many lives through, his leadership qualities, his generosity, his charisma. I mean, just a funny dude and a caring person. Even I knew how caring my son was of others, but I'm still getting messages today from people I never knew, but they knew Evan. Just the day before our game, this young man reached out to me and shared how much Evan touched him and how he wanted to quit baseball. He wanted to quit baseball, and he didn't, because Evan touched his life and told him and convinced him to not give up on his dream. And, he shared stories with me about how Evan was his wingman a couple of times, and we joked about that. And keep in mind, this is a kid I never met. It's somebody who went to his high school, and they didn't even run in the same circles. But there's someone who, Evan touched his life to keep him motivated on following his goals of completing school and chasing his dream of baseball.
Wow. Well, how many ways that we have opportunities to touch people's lives, and hearing the story of Evan and all the people that were touched by him here on earth. And it could be the small things or the big things. And wow, I just, and hearing, really, you're an incredible asset to the Canton Classics through honoring your son in the number 4 position, which was his football number. Is that correct?
Yes. He wore, his senior year, he wore number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's inspirational. It's a tragedy beyond a shadow of a doubt. But to meet you and get to know you and just know the impact you're making by allowing for this opportunity to be a legacy for your son is just, it's touching. It really is. And the times that we've talked on the phone and listening to the passion that you have when you describe your love for your son and your family and just the theme of fatherhood and how vital and important that is to you is just, it's remarkable. It's touching and it's heartfelt, and love the opportunity to do whatever we all can to just help promote the legacy that Evan is.
Well, thank you, Josh. And, growing up, most sons or daughters even, you ask them who their hero is. And they may say, oh, my father or my mother, but Evan was my hero.
That hits home.
Yeah.
This is a lot more than football, isn't it?
It really is.
Well, thank you. Thank you for not only the opportunity to have Evan on the team, but thank you for supporting me the way that you guys have, and for helping me to get my son's story out and spread his legacy. And, just try to use him as an example, as a tool for the youth and other people to try to be the best that they can while they can.
Well, you, sir, are an inspiration. Your son's legacy is living on, and we thank you for who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you, Josh. Thank you, Kristian.
Find out more about the team at CantonClassics.com, or find us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Canton Classics. Find out more about the SFL at simulationfl.net.
With an owner suite view from section 330. With an owner suite view from section 330, yeah.